You know, I actually had a different barbershop talk planned today. I had the whole thing written out. It was a great question a fan asked me, but I'm actually going to move it because that can wait. Maybe this is going to be a little bit more of a rant, but it's definitely worth a discussion. I never thought I'd be talking about fan bases or making a video about fan bases, but yet here we are. And it's because we really need to discuss just everything about LeBron haters, LeBron stans, and everything in between. So before we go anywhere, let's define what those are so you can decide if you're going to be hurt by any of the content in this video. Because after all, you should only wear the shoe if it fits. So on one end of the spectrum, you have LeBron haters. For this, think Skip Bayless. And they're basically senseless. This is actually perfect timing because last night when the Lakers were beating the Kings, Skip Bayless tweeted out something of the sort like, "Who needs LeBron?" And he's basically made a career off of hating on LeBron James. And in a nutshell, the guy is ridiculous. And that's representative of everybody who is a true LeBron hater like him. And what I mean by that is, there was one time where he seriously made a segment back in like 2015 where he was, at least he was trying to portray that he was serious and thinking that Michael Jordan was going to come out of retirement to teach LeBron a lesson. That was a real conversation that he had. And so that's his entire thing. And the Skip Bayless type haters are represented by people online who say things like LeBum, LaTrash, you know, all those corny nicknames. Okay, you get the point. So those are LeBron haters. Then you have LeBron stans. And for this, the most comparable thing I could find would probably be like a Nick Wright. I was gonna say Shannon Sharp, but to me, Shannon is just really funny. He's an entertainment piece, and overall, he's just really fucking hilarious. But Nick Wright, on the other hand, is just like everything has to relate to LeBron. Everything has to be positive. You can't talk about the greatness of another legend like Kobe or Michael Jordan without it having something to do with why LeBron is better. And so Nick Wright, that part is represented by people who, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put it because I discovered this today actually. He's represented by "But if LeBron did it" Twitter. I put that on the screen just in case you didn't hear what I said. "But if LeBron did it" Twitter. And these are the people, this is the worst of the worst. These are the people that just have to bring LeBron into any situation. And I honestly suspect this section of fans is the reason why a guy like Kobe Bryant is so damn hated today. I think they're responsible for the Michael Jordan Plumber narrative. I think they're responsible for basically somewhat of a rewriting of NBA history because you cannot appreciate a legend without it having to do something with boosting LeBron James. And so for instance, I tweeted out, the thing about Twitter people don't understand sometimes, there's not that many characters in a tweet. Sometimes you're just pointing something out and it's just not that deep. There's nothing more than what you see. And so I'm sure you've seen by now Kevin Durant missed a game winner against the Blazers last night. And I made a tweet about it because I was watching that game. And I literally just pointed out that it was an open mid-range shot that you would not expect KD to miss. And I just kind of made like a not really sarcastic comment, but a passive comment like, "Oh damn, the Blazers guy, they escaped with their life that night." And oh my god, there was so many people who overreacted, but mainly there was this one that somehow found a way to bring LeBron James into a Blazers and Warriors game. Like fam, how? I swear the tweet was just about Kevin Durant missing an open mid-ranger. And I got people coming into that tweet like, "Oh, but if LeBron did it, like they, oh my goodness." Okay, so we'll come back to that. That's LeBron stans. And then you have neutral territory. And the people in the neutral territory cannot win, which is why I think they end up being stereotyped as LeBron haters. I myself fall into this category. The whole time I've been a YouTuber, I've been called everything from a LeBron hater, to a LeBron stan, to a Jordan stan, to a Kobe stan. Like, I've been placed everywhere on this spectrum that you can imagine. It's so funny. And it's because when you lie in this neutral range on LeBron James, you don't praise him for everything he does, and you don't criticize him for everything he does. So to the haters, you're a stan, and to the stans, you're a hater. And the most clear example of that would be, okay, I made a video explaining why I thought LeBron James was better than Kobe Bryant. There were some people that put me into the LeBron stan section for that. I made a video thoroughly explaining why I think Michael Jordan is better than LeBron. And for that video, I got put into LeBron haters section and Jordan stan section. And so now that we see what life is like on all three of these, let's just talk about some things. The problem about discussing LeBron or having an opinion on his career is that anything that's not praising him is subject to be put in the hater category, and there needs to be a clear line drawn. Because look, you have to draw a line between someone like Skip Bayless, who makes a career off of basically just trolling the shit out of y'all with terrible LeBron James takes. To be honest, I don't even know if deep down he actually hates LeBron as much as LeBron is just making him money. Because every time y'all know he's gonna talk about him on a show or he tweets about him, people tune in and people respond. So I really suspect that's just a character that he plays. But either way, we're gonna put him in that section because that's what he portrays. But you have to be able to be sensible enough to draw a line between, you know, the LeBum people, LaTrash, La36, and Skip Bayless, and between somebody who has an actual criticism of maybe his 2011 finals. Because one of the things I went in and did, and they did not like this on the LeBron and Jordan video, I pointed out possessions where LeBron was getting cooked by Jason Terry. That's not my opinion. That's not biased towards LeBron. That is just something that happened. It's something that happened, and it's something that counts in the rankings. But then on the contrary of that, I've gone over in countless videos all the great things he's done on top of that. The legendary performances, the hand he was dealt by being drafted by an inept franchise, all those things, right? And so where that becomes a problem is LeBron stans, they only see where you didn't praise him. And this leads to a problem that I noticed really spiked, I would say, in like 2013, where any opinion you don't have of the guy that's not praising him is just called hate. When he was with the Miami Heat, that was rampant. If you had anything to say that was not positive, that was Miami. Please corroborate this if you can remember 5 years ago. Hater was a Miami Heat fans or a LeBron stans, I don't know which one it was back then, but it was their favorite term. Everybody who didn't agree went into that category. And so over the years, what I think that's created is a lot of animosity towards his fan base. And I think that's what gave birth to But If LeBron Did It Twitter. Because it's put people like me in position who I'm just neutral, no matter who doesn't believe it. I sit in the middle where I will dish it both ways. But it's been made to make me look like I'm against LeBron because me and people like me cannot stand interacting with his stans. Like, it's so crazy the fact that I can just tweet something about Damian Lillard or another superstar, whatever, and somehow one of them come out of nowhere fucking up the vibe of the whole thread because they're making LeBron the victim. And that's what I don't get. Why do they feel the need to make LeBron James a victim? He doesn't need it anymore. He does not need your protection anymore. See, the whole thing is that I will agree with this. LeBron James is probably the most scrutinized athlete of all time. Given the fact that a guy like Skip Bayless has such a huge platform and people take after him, and then what happened in 2011, yeah, overall, just looking at it in general, most scrutinized athlete of all time. Okay, but it's not 2011 anymore. We're about to enter 2019 in like 3 days. Kevin Durant is currently the most hated athlete on the planet. I'm not exaggerating when I say I have not clicked on a Kevin Durant thread in 2 years that has not been toxic and negative. It's literally at cyberbullying levels. It's like that. Personal attacks, snake jokes, his rings don't count, weakest superstar ever, softest superstar ever, can't win without a 73-9 team. Every single time they lose, it's about him joining the team that they lost to. When something big in football happens, there's a Photoshop of Kevin Durant joining that team. So given that that's a thing, why does LeBron James by his stance still need to be dragged into every situation? Kevin Durant is in the hate spotlight right now, the same one that LeBron had in 2011. Kevin Durant is in that spotlight. I'm not saying LeBron doesn't have haters. He does. There's still people that say stupid things about him every day. There's still people that criticize everything he does or if he misses free throws. It still happens. I'm not even saying that he doesn't rank pretty high up there. But it is Kevin Durant's time right now as that guy. There is no need to go to every thread complaining that someone like him is not getting the criticism that LeBron James gets. The Kevin Durant criticism is still at an all-time high. It has not dropped in 2 years. It's not going to drop until he leaves Golden State. And while we're here, let's go even deeper into that movement. There was a time where, I can't remember earlier in the season, but Kawhi Leonard, he turned the ball over or something, or I think he passed away on a game-winning attempt. He could have shot the ball, but instead he passed it, which is something that LeBron James has been criticized for. So then naturally people say, oh, why isn't Kawhi Leonard getting hated right now? Why isn't he all over the internet? Why aren't people blasting him the way they would blast LeBron? Well, there's two things here. Thing number one, Kawhi Leonard is not ranked as an all-time great just yet. He's and I'm talking about like the top 3, top 4, top 5 players. He's not there right now. So he's not compared to the guys like Michael Jordan and those greats. And they're always looked at differently. They're always held to a different standard. That's just what it is. Everything that those players do or did, it's magnified. So that's number 1. And number 2, I'm going to walk you through something I'm about to say, right? Because this is coming from the neutral side, but this is where the stands will label me a hater. Because I will say that LeBron James has done things in his career that led to him getting a certain amount of hate. So let's look at a very specific example. Back in, I believe this was 2011 or 2012, very early on in his Miami days, I believe it was a game against the Utah Jazz, and he passed off a shot to Udonis Haslem. And all the basketball people said the same thing, that it was the right play. Time was ticking down. I believe the defense was collapsing in on LeBron. He gave it to the open man. Udonis Haslem for a jump shot. That's probably not the guy that you want taking the last shot, but it was the correct basketball play. Okay, well, first you have the factor of, again, LeBron is an all-time great, so he is expected to do certain things. But the bigger thing at play there was just a few months earlier, he put a target on his own back by saying how easy things were going to be. By going on stage and saying they were going to win multiple championships, and because he was playing with 2 other superstars, it was just going to be easy. That target on his back, a bit of it still lingers today, but especially back then, that was a target that he put on his own back. So when you say things like that and you create expectations like that, you will tend to get more attention than a Kawhi Leonard when you miss the last shot or you pass off the last shot versus when anybody else like a Kawhi Leonard does it. It's that simple. That's not coming from a place of hate. That is looking at it as neutral as possible. And then here comes "but if LeBron did it" Twitter, acting like they don't know why he's held to a higher standard or why he has been held to a higher standard since the Miami days. It's come with the territory of his greatness and the things that he did to put a target on his own back. It's that simple. And so in terms of LeBron haters, LeBron stans, and everything in between, the reason why it might seem sometimes like there's more haters than there are fans or stans is because stans literally lump everything else together. Everything else is lumped together. If it's not praising him, if it's questioning something, if it's criticizing something he did during the game, whether it's fair or not, it's labeled as hate. When you call out his stans on their shit, it's labeled as hate. Things like how they won't want to give anybody on his team credit except him. And so say for instance I call that out because most of the things that I say that can be construed as negative against LeBron, most of it is dumbass arguments from the stan side. So I'll make fun of that. I'll make fun of the fact that people try to act like Dwayne Wade just didn't exist after 2011, or the fact that people act like Chris Bosh was just twiddling his thumbs before he went to Miami. That is me making fun of stan arguments, but that gets lumped as hate. So then a question I've gotten from time to time is, well then if you know there's 2 sides, then why don't you go after one side as hard as you do the other? They'll say, why don't you go after LeBron haters like you do his stans? Or for that matter, people will say, why don't you go after Kobe stans? Why don't you go after Jordan stans? Well, there's 2 things there. One is the fact that stans have lumped me into the side of LeBron haters. So if I do choose to go after LeBron haters, then I just get accused of trying to look neutral. Kind of like when, people were accusing me of things with the Celtics, and I would say something and they're like, oh, you're just trying to portray a certain way. So there's that part. But then there's also the part that it's just my personal belief. There is not a fan base worse than the LeBron stans. And since I have not elaborated on that, let me make sure that again, you're only wearing the shoe that fits. Because I have plenty of LeBron fans that follow me and they're cool people. They don't do all the super cringe shit that the stans do. Those are 2 different things. Again, fans won't have a problem with you pointing out valid criticism, and stans will. But as far as separate fan bases, let's say like the Kobe fan base, Jordan fan base, and LeBron fan base, right? I'm gonna show you a very simple difference. When I made the LeBron is better than Kobe video, I had maybe one person tweet me saying that, they're accusing me of going to LeBron's side or being a hater against Kobe. I didn't get a whole lot of attacks for that video. Not directly, whatever people said in the comment section they said, but when people actually make an effort to reach out, that's when you've hit a nerve. So I got like one of those on the LeBron and Kobe video. On the LeBron and Jordan video, I never acknowledged it, but I damn near had grown men crying about that video. The same way they always come crying if you have an opinion that is not completely boosting the man. That right there is the difference between the stan fan bases of all 3 of those guys. 2 of those stan bases are making dumb arguments that don't really deserve to be debated, and another is just working full time to make sure nobody else is getting credit. That's where I break it down. And just to wrap this up, I tweeted about this earlier. I tweeted about the "but if LeBron did it" Twitter crowd, and I was very clear in the fact that it's that crowd and the whole stan crowd. I was very clear that it's the crowd that people don't like and not LeBron himself. And you still had somebody on there, still had someone come to say, oh well, somewhere in there you hate him. Confession is good for the soul. That made me laugh. And somebody asked him a legit question. Well, hate him for what? That's the question I always ask people. When they say I hate LeBron, I'll be like, well, can you show me my last LeBron hate post? Can you show me where I actually hated on him and not fairly criticized him? I asked that question. And it always ends up like this. All he could say back is questions we want answered. That's all he could say. That is very likely somebody that's part of the stan crowd. Somebody who lumps you in with the haters and swears that you hate them, but they don't know why. You're making good arguments that they can't argue back against, and they don't know why you hate them, but oh, you definitely hate LeBron. No. You're likely just a part of the stan crowd that is making basketball debates, sports talk, generational basketball debates, part of the crowd that's making all of that toxic. LeBron haters that basically troll for ratings like Skip Bayless are toxic to the community. LeBron stans that call everybody a hater are toxic to the community. And the part that's neutral is never going to win by talking about LeBron James. And I guarantee you, the people who this video hit home for, they will be under the comment section of this video proving everything I've said was correct.